Greetings, it's Gabe Morales here. I was recently informed of some sad news about the passing of another legend, Wes McBride, who spent decades learning everything there is to know about gangs and then sharing it with his fellow law enforcement officers. In addition to being an internationally recognized gang expert, he was the founder and longtime executive director of the California Gang Investigators Association until just a few years ago. And he also served as president for the National Alliance of Gang Investigator Associations, also known as NAJA, which was a great idea to network all the various gang investigator associations across the nation. But Wes and I also discussed some of the unnecessary ugly politics with that group when I founded the International Latino Gang Investigators Association. Larry Mead, who worked for the LA Sheriff's Department at Operation Safe Streets, Operation Safe Jails, and on the Gang Enforcement Team, or GET, states that Wes was a mentor to him and that he learned about gang intelligence and became an intelligence expert due to Wes's teachings. He went on to state that Wes paved the foundation and was a very great man. Nelson Arriaga, the current executive director of the California Gang Investigator Association, states, "We will deeply miss our godfather of gang cops. We lost a greatest of all time." He also states that Wes was a mentor to him, as he was to many others, and that he saw something in Nelson Arriaga because he passed the baton on to him when he asked him to take over CGIA. Wes McBride was a former Marine like myself and always supported other cops in corrections, and we gave him a Lifetime Achievement Award in New Mexico in 2005. Wes McBride started off with the LA Sheriff's Department after he got out of the Marines with the rank of sergeant. Wes joined the LA Sheriff's Department in 1966 and obtained the rank of sergeant there, where he stayed with that agency until 2002. Early on in his career, Wes picked up intel about dangerous gang-affiliated individuals, and he recognized the need to gather better intelligence. So he began a gang log and shared this intelligence with other sheriff stations. He pioneered a system called Gang Reporting, Evaluation, and Tracking, or GRAIN, that evolved over the years and eventually became known as CalGang, a database which was used statewide to monitor gang activity and gang-involved individuals. It was he and a few others who first used the technology to do a better job when computer use by police departments was still relatively new. Before that time, everything was done on paper or sent by teletype. Wes also co-wrote a book on understanding street gangs that is often used by gang investigators and educators. When it first came out, there were not a lot of books on gangs, and it was one of the first that I read and relied upon for that subject matter. I interviewed Wes and included these facts in my first book, Barrio Warfare, which was printed in the late 1990s. Now, people who know me know that I'm big on suppression/interdiction, intervention, and prevention. But when some cops and corrections tell me they don't believe in intervention, they just believe in suppression, I'm a little puzzled. Wes believed in it. Wes worked diligently to understand gang members' lives and walk in their shoes, said Sheriff's Captain Willie Miller. Wes's approach caught gang members off guard, and it often made them more likely to give up gang information. So again, this non-combative approach in dealing with most gang members, I found, usually works. A few of Wes's critics may think that he was soft on gang members. Nothing could be further from the truth. He was an old salty Marine, an old Irish guy. He knew when to be tough and knew when to use a softer approach. He just used good communication skills and good people skills to his advantage. And I learned from guys like him. Anytime anybody had questions about gangs, he was the man to go to, said Lieutenant Mike Ford, who worked with the Safe Streets program, the department's official anti-gang operation. He could recite how they operated, their financial status, their method of operation, everything. Even information on specific gang members. It was always very impressive. Now, Wes was working gangs long before I came on the scene. When I started working at Folsom Prison, I would attend all the monthly gang meetings put on by the institution. And I also joined CGIA and received their newsletter, which was basically a summary of their monthly meetings attended by various agencies in the greater Los Angeles area. And this information was very helpful to me when I was out working the units and working the yard. I continued being a member of CGIA when I went to work at the King County Jail for almost 25 years, since we had a lot of California gang transplants. And I attended some of their conferences over the years and even once instructed there. Like I said, while Wes was always supportive of suppression efforts, to get the worst of the worst off the streets. He also saw the need for intervention and prevention. And I recall he always had speakers at CGIA speak in that regard. We don't solve the social problems as a nation that tend to create gangs, he once said. We don't solve illiteracy or poverty. How do you make up for parents not caring for their kids? And so, in addition to working to crack down on gangs, arrest and incarcerate those responsible for violent crime, he worked with programs that kept track of youths who were struggling to save themselves from a dead-end life on the streets. We started a lot of programs, he said. We saved a lot of kids, and we put a lot of bad guys in jail. And I'm proud of that, he stated many times. I just did what I could. Some programs worked and some didn't. But you have to try. You did make a difference, Wes, and you will be deeply missed by all of us. Semper Fi. This is Gabe Morales signing off for Gangsters, Cops, and Politicians.